Well, yeah.
I didn't do a good job
Okay.
that time.
Oh, whoops. Sorry.
Yeah. We're live and unready as always.
Uh-huh. 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 Uh-huh.
Yay! Welcome everyone to the Unready Room with me, Dan Gunther, and of course, Brandi Jackola.
Hi.
Um, Spoiler alert, probably talking about my favorite episode of Lower Decks and of like Star Trek for the last 20 plus years. Good Lord. Um, Maybe not the best episode in that time, but my favorite, yes.
Favorite. Well,
Subjectively, my absolute favorite.
well, still yeah, it's a creative work, so it's still subjective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
oh, you're
Aw,
already getting birthday wishes.
thank you guys. Yeah, it's my birthday. It's
It is. It is Dan's birthday. And I have
uh
something to say about that.
oh.
Okay? Okay. This month is such a special one. It's birthday time for you. We'd really like to celebrate this happy day with you. Zippity yay and Heidi ho, there's something we can do. We'll sing a song that we all know. Happy birthday to you.
Aw, thank you.
You're welcome.
So this episode made me cry, and that just about made me cry. So yeah. Thank you, Brandi.
You're welcome.
Mixed feelings. It's a big one. It's I know I'm not caught up to some people out there, and I never will. But it's my 40th birthday. It's a big one for me. So I'm getting through it. I'm getting through it.
No, I get that because I had a really hard time turning 40.
Oh yeah.
Really hard time with 40. And now I'm just like whatever.
It just keeps going though. Oh,
Mhm.
okay. Which is good. The alternative is worse. So I'll take
Yeah,
it. Like
it's just
honestly.
a number. It's just a number.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything.
No, absolutely. Dave.
Yes, I was practicing.
Love it, love it, love it. Oh.
I didn't clue him into what I was going to do.
That's adorable. I love it.
Sorry, babe.
Oh, that's funny. So yeah, everyone who's live with us in the comments, thank you all so much for joining us. Really do appreciate that. And everybody who's watching, of course, later, we really appreciate you as well. Thank you so much for watching.
Yes.
Strap in for like an hour of me gushing because
And no. Us gushing. Please.
yes,
Us.
absolutely. Absolutely. I didn't want to speak for you, but fair enough.
Dude.
Absolutely.
Dude.
Yeah. It was okay.
Yes,
It's fine.
This is a Star Trek episode.
Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna address this. Did you LDS yourself? So there's that you can go on the website and create your little self as a lower decks character. I did, but I think because I did it on the instead of doing what you should do when you're in Facebook and click a link and then say open in Chrome on mobile, I did it in the native Facebook browser, and it wouldn't save. Like, it just wouldn't save the image. So I did a screen cap, but of course that's low res and crappy. But so I put in a lot of work. I did all the little fiddly things, and then I couldn't save the freaking picture. So that was annoying.
I am sorry. I did actually do it, but I was disappointed in the options for females, especially in the hair department.
Yeah.
And the face department. I did appreciate they had a variety of female bodies in different sizes. But I already have a lower decks version of myself that I got like a year or more ago from the magnificent Marcy London art, and I like that version better.
Nice.
And people are going to make me show it, aren't they?
If you have it available, please.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely my favorite version of me as a lower decks character. probably because it's very complimentary to me. It's not like she did this from nothing. She did, I did send her pictures of myself, and you know, it was where in the hell is it? it's right- it's here somewhere. It's here somewhere. Oh my goodness, why am I having trouble finding this? Let's find it. Okay, forget it. I'll look it up in my freaking photos because that I can find. And now I'm getting like hot, like because I keep having hot flashes because I'm old, I guess.
Oh,
I just I really actually that's not true. I mean I do have hot flashes, but it has nothing to do with being old. You can have hot flashes at pretty much any age. And I've been having hot flashes my whole life. So,
hmm.
golly gee willikers. And everybody's just like, come on with the show. What are you doing? This is boring. And I agree. I
Nah,
agree.
that's fine. We're all friends here. We're all friends here. It's all
Uh,
good.
yeah,
Um,
we are all friends here.
in the
I'm
meantime,
almost there.
I'll point out in pride of place, I have my tacky Cardassian fascist eyesore
I'm
here
in
in
awe of
front
the
of me.
pylons myself.
And in front of it is the Cerritos, which the lighting's not great there. So you can't really, but yeah, that's what's going
Yeah.
on there. I
Okay,
had to,
I finally found it. I finally
ooh,
found it.
okay.
So see if we can. It's hard to see.
It's
The
hard to,
light
yeah,
is
it gets a
too.
little blown out, but
Here, let
I
me.
like the pose though. That's cool.
Yeah,
That's
that
awesome.
still doesn't work. It's too shiny. It's too shiny. There. That's a little bit better. But anyway,
That's
um,
pretty cool.
if you want to see a better view of that, then I'll probably, I mean, go to my Twitter feed. so,
Absolutely.
or
At
yeah,
Brandywine 12.
Brandywine12. Yeah, at Brandywine12. You can
Perfect.
go find it there, and or I can just, if I could figure out how to share a picture on this dang thing, I would do that too. How does
um,
one share a picture? I think it has to be in a Google tab, doesn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Well, never
Um,
mind then, because it's
nah,
only my photos.
we're the Unready room. It's what we do.
Oh, sorry, guys.
Oh, this is the Unready room version of circling the pylons and
Yeah,
as the
and
DS9 theme.
I can't even post it in the chat because I can't post comments in the chat.
Oh
Oh,
shoot.
oh.
Uh, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm sure it's your fault somehow.
At Brandywine 12. Go check it out there.
It's actually my the face is my Twitter avatar. So
Yes, that's
yeah,
right too. Yeah, that's cool.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, episode 6 of season 3 of Lower Decks. Hear all, trust nothing. Ferengi rule of acquisition. 100 and something. First mentioned in the episode Call to Arms, in a scene with Nog and Captain Sisko. And yeah, appropriately titled because, of course, we're going to DS9 in this episode. This is the one that they've been, hinting about and bragging about, and rightfully so, because this is freaking amazing.
Hmm.
So, okay, the cool part about this episode, and I'm stealing this a little bit from Sean Ferrick of Trek Culture, who made a point, and I absolutely agree with it. Um, yes, they go to Deep Space Nine. Yes, there are a ton of Easter eggs and like, oh, look at this and stuff. But the episode isn't reliant on that. It's a good story in and of itself that uses the elements of DS9 to craft this particular good story. Like Quark's not just in the episode to be like, oh, hey, look, here's Armin Shimmerman as Quark. Isn't that
Hmm.
cool? He has an integral part in the plot of the story, and same with Kira, right? Like we don't spend half an hour going, oh, hey, cool, it's Kira. They actually build some more backstory for her to connect her to Shax with a little bit, connect her to Shax a little bit, and flesh things out that way. And I love this story that could have been a half hour of member berries, as they say, but it wasn't. It was just a fresh, great story. Great DS9 episode. I was joking that this is the 177th episode of Deep Space Nine,
Yes.
but also a great Lower Decks episode. So we're certainly going to be talking about the references and the little things like that, but they exist as frosting or icing, depending on where you're from, of this beautiful cake of an episode. So
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. There are so many things that are all frosting and no cake. And this
mhm.
has so much cake, you guys.
Yes.
So much cake, so much delicious, delicious cake.
Oh, Matthew, I have things to say about Cork screaming in this episode because that was wonderful. I love that he got back into that, and you could hear him go into that register with that Quark scream. I'm like, oh, that's perfect. He nailed it again. Yeah,
Yes, he was asked by someone on Twitter, someone I knew, I think, if, he wore the Ferengi teeth,
I was gonna bring
and
that up. Yeah.
he did respond, "Yeah, I can't do the voice without the teeth. I definitely have 'em." I'm like, "Of course you did."
Oh yeah, and you can hear it in the performance. Like
Mhm.
if it was just Armin Shimmerman trying to do a Quark voice without that, like it would be missing that element. But you hear that talking through the Ferengi teeth. Like I obviously I can't do it. I don't have the Ferengi teeth in, but you can hear that in the performance. I love that.
Yes, agreed.
Um, so yeah, okay. There's kind of the two sort of three main stories going on. Four if you count the little Bold Boimler side story, which we'll talk about. But
Yes,
um
we will, 'cause
yeah.
Boimler.
And I do love that they all kind of intertwine at various points because one thing that I had read on Twitter from Tawny Newsome, or maybe an interview or something, was that in the original version of the story, she had absolutely nothing to do with the Deep Space Nine story at all. And she went to Mike McGrann and was like, "What the hell, man? Like, this is Deep Space Nine." So we do get her interacting with Quark and doing some fun stuff at the end of the episode, which I'm really glad they got that, even just for her sake, because she was so excited for that. But for the most part, she's kind of got this side story going on with Jennifer, which I'm maybe not equally excited about with the DS9 stuff, but I'm very excited about that because I've been kind of waiting all season for this, Mariner Jennifer interplay between the two of them, because we get hints of it. We get the mining the mind's minds thing where
Mm.
we see like her fantasies or her private thoughts kind of thing, but we haven't really seen the two of them like together, and that was a very special, very great part of the episode for me.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how that was going to go, and actually went exactly how I thought it was going to go. Once we met the friends, I'm like, "Oh, dear God." Like, "And why is Jennifer friends with these people?"
Hmm.
I'm not sure what's going on here.
Yeah, I
But,
love that.
yeah.
Sorry,
I
go ahead.
love no, it's fine. I love how it even started where it's just like, "Oh, Jennifer's in Mariner's bunk." She just comes out of the bunk, "Hi, guys." And they're like, "Hi, Jennifer."
That was adorable. Um, and even Mariner, "I'm not bossy," and the three of them just
Just
lose it.
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
man.
Mhm.
So yeah, we've got it's not a party, it's a
A
salon.
salon. A
Uh,
salon. Not a salon, a
a
salon.
salon.
Say it right, salon.
Um Candle making, very cool.
Grab a wick.
um all of Mariner's reactions in this whole sequence were so good. Like the voice acting on this was just, I don't know what it, like there was just an extra little, I loved it this episode. Oh, also I forgot to mention, I'm sorry everyone. I was going to mention this off the top. The theme for this evening of this live stream is personal battlefields. So if everyone can keep that in mind.
I have my interpretive dance prepared.
Oh, excellent. We've already had the song, so
It is an interpretive dance that was made for video calls, so it will only be from the head up.
Oh, perfect. Excellent. The Zoom era of interpretive dance. Oh man.
That's about all of it right there.
Yeah.
It's just flipping my hair around and now my hair is really big. It's all good. It's all good. It's fine.
Ooh. Good point. Dodged a bullet there. They weren't anaphasic candles.
Yeah, like the collectors were selling at the booth until Together 4.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, and I'm not putting this past Lower Decks, I'm waiting for the Duncan Regeer cameo as Ronan at some point. It's going to happen. The more seasons this show goes on, the more likely it's going to happen. You could graph the probability.
I hope so.
Oh my god.
I'm so here for it.
Oh,
so
man.
here for it. So here for it.
Whew. So yeah, the whole Jennifer thing, the whole idea, she's like, why are you being so nice? Like, why aren't you? She's like, well, I didn't want to come across as bossy. Well, no, I wanted you to rip my friends a new one, basically. And so the scene of Mariner stunning everyone in the room, while in the background, Jennifer is just like,
Yep.
oh my
just
god,
laughing, just gleeful.
So good. I have to ask, did you see Jesse Genders or Jesse Earl's tweet about that scene? I gotta pull it up now.
I believe so, but I've seen a lot of tweets and I can't
Oh my
remember all of
god.
them.
Okay, here it is. So somebody had tweeted like screenshots of the two of like Mariner and Jenny, as her friends call her, apparently. Their little kiss, and then the stun, and then when they're collapsed on the table, kind of embracing each other. And Jesse tweeted, Star Trek Lower Decks finally giving us the weird, slightly masochistic yet adorable queer couple, while during a Deep Space Nine crossover feels so damn poetic. Somewhere Bashir and Garrick are smiling together seeing this.
Yes. Excellent. Excellent. Well, see, and that's the funny thing about this thing is just like, why would Jennifer want Mariner to rip all her friends a new one? And then, but it occurred to me right after that, she just wants Mariner to be Mariner. Mariner can be an agent of chaos, and she wants Mariner to be herself in all situations. And so I think this was her way of saying, "Hey, I accept you, all of you, in whatever way you want to behave, but please don't pretend to be polite on my account. That's not you." And so it was kind of it was an interesting relationship the story, because we think, well, why would Jennifer want that? And it's like, it's not about the friends, it's about Mariner.
Yeah. That said, like, I could also see like a salon that we didn't see, where Jen is sitting there going like, oh my god, these pretentious people. You know what would be great?
Exactly. No, I'm certain that was what she wanted to do. She wanted to introduce an agent of chaos into that salon.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, honestly, but even like at the candle making point, even I would have been like, what the hell is this? What are you doing? But during interpretive dance, I'd be like, nope, nope, we're not doing this.
Yeah.
No.
The Kobayashi maroon. Oh, I didn't think they could do another Kobayashi pun, but yeah.
They did, and I bet they have more up their sleeve.
Oh, I'm sure. Nice little bit of continuity, by the way. The fact that Quarks has franchised, which
Mhm.
we've seen in Picard and stuff. So, and they've got that style of logo that we saw in Picard. This is the original Quarks. Marin is like, oh, I can't believe you're excited to go to a franchise. And like, no, this is the original. I love that. That was great.
Yeah. Yes, very well done. Honestly, it does make sense that the whole thing's a franchise, really,
Mhm.
when you think about it. And in fact, when many moons ago, when my friend Nick, hi Nick, Nick's in the chat, uh, we recorded an episode of the Vedic Assembly, a couple episodes actually, of doing, where were the Deep Space Nine folk 20 years afterwards, and just doing our fantasies of what we wanted them to be doing. So yes, Garrick and Bashir are a thing. They are together on Cardassia and living happily. So it's all good. But yeah, we were just like, yeah, definitely Quark would have had franchised stuff, but he also probably would have lost a ton of money on like the stupidest things. Like it was probably his idea to do the data bubble bath. Like that was probably a Quark product
Yeah,
that just
absolutely.
did not work.
Mhm. Also, I'm gonna just shout out the Trek Lit side of things. Dayton Ward beat the new Star Trek shows to the idea of Quark's running a franchise by quite a bit by having
Mhm.
Quark's franchises on Vulcan and on Kronos in his travel guides that he put out, which is so terrific.
Mhm.
If yeah, and also we should shout out the very first Quarks franchise expansion, which was in Las Vegas up until temporally timey-wimey wibbly-wobbly stuff actually existing a few hundred years before the original Quarks, but it's a
Yeah.
franchise of it. So
And I have been to that Quarks once,
me too, just the
many
one time.
moons ago with Dave. Dave was with me. So,
That warp core breach, man. Whew, boy.
so it so messed me up.
It's so good though.
I know.
Oh man.
She's like, "What is happening? I'm getting transported! What?" Just like all of it was so well
Oh,
done.
so good. I miss that place so much. We
Yes.
went basically like 2 months or a month and a half before it closed. We were like, oh no, we've got to go. So yeah, that was wonderful. Um, we've seen several Lurians over the course of Lower Decks up to now, but we got the original. We got Morn at
Morn.
his spot at the bar.
Yep.
That was probably the part that my wife Nikki was most excited for because we've watched Deep Space Nine together and she's the biggest Morn fan. She's like, I
Mm.
everything Morn. Morn is the best character.
Yeah. Well, and the first time that Dave and I were watching it, when it panned across and then we saw Morn, we both went, "Morn!"
Yep.
And I did it the second time I watched it too.
So
And
great.
and very quietly to myself the third time I watched it. Morn.
Yeah. I've only seen it the 2 times now, but yeah, it this episode, you guys, I'm absolutely serious, made me bawl the first time and
Mhm.
completely caught me by surprise. The opening bit with the station and the music, I was like, oh, I'm very excited, this is going to be amazing. And then just the very next scene when we get back from the credits where they're walking on the promenade, I just found myself choking up. And like I said, completely unexpected. I did not expect to get emotional like that. And I was thinking back to when Deep Space Nine ended, and they were talking about how like they shot, the final scenes on the promenade, the largest standing set in Hollywood at the time. For 7 years, that set stood there, and the next day they started tearing it down. And all of this is going through my head like it's a set on a TV show. Of course they tear it down. Like, what else? You can't do anything else with it. Those stages are needed for stuff. But just remembering that and thinking of that, I just started bawling. And like I said, it just caught myself completely by surprise at that. And then, of course, we see Ops and we see Kira, and it's just like adding to it, and Quark, and it just like there's so much I missed of the episode, I think, the first time around, because I was just reacting to everything like that. So
Yeah.
it's hard to describe. And I mean, I know a lot of you out there know exactly where I'm coming from. Deep Space Nine just has this place in my heart as it's the first Star Trek series I watched from the beginning as it aired. The characters, the writing, the stories, the entire 7 years, it has this meaning to me that I just has this little place in my brain that nothing else will ever touch. And this episode is just such an amazing love letter to that, and a continuation of that, and the idea that these characters and this place continue on in Star Trek canon, and there's more stories to be told. Oh man, I was just all of those things combined, and I was a mess, guys, as I'm sure you can tell because I'm babbling now. Whew, okay, Brandi, talk.
Yeah. I thought after the first time, okay, I'm not gonna cry the second time, and then we watched it the second time on Thursday, and I'm just, yeah, they get to the station and the music starts, and I'm like, okay, so you made me cry again, okay. And then when Kira's staring out the window at the wormhole with
Yes.
this look on her face, how they do that in frickin' animation. This is pretty basic animation. I mean, it's not like a full-blown, who's the person I'm trying to think of, the guy who did My Neighbor Totoro and all those things,
Oh
Miyazaki.
yeah.
Um, and yet, she's looking at that going, "Is this the day that Cisco comes back? Is this
And
the day?"
yeah,
And
the
it's just
fact,
like it just
yeah.
and her picking up the baseball and playing with the
The
baseball. Yeah,
timing of that, yeah,
mhm,
like, it's all there for those of us who are so invested in Deep Space Nine, and we know all of that. Like, you don't have to be that invested in DS9 to enjoy this episode,
not at
because
all.
and that's
Yeah.
one of its strengths, but for those of us who are a part of that club, the fact that Kira's staring out at the wormhole like that, and our crew comes into the office to talk with her, and the first thing she does is pick up that baseball. You
Mhm,
know what's on her mind. You absolutely know what's on her mind.
mhm.
And it's so subtle and so well done. It is so great. Ah,
Yeah.
yeah. Uh, hey, something I got really excited about watching the second time, and I noticed it. I hadn't noticed the first time. We see the backside of the promenade, the side of the promenade that we never
Never
see
see,
on the
because it
television
wasn't
show.
built.
It wasn't built. It was just like a little, like, third or maybe half that they built, but that
Mhm.
backside we never see. But
Bat lifts
because
are us.
batliths are us, yep, and shops on the top side that aren't Quarks, because we only
Mhm.
ever saw the secondary entrance to Quarks there.
Yep.
Um, sorry, David, I love this. They should have put Mark Allen Shepard in the credits for Morn, even though he didn't have any lines.
Agree.
That would have been
I
great.
agree. That would have been like the mwah, like the fun of mwah. Yes.
That
Absolutely
would have been
agree.
awesome. Yeah. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it comes down to.
Yeah. Love Trek, and especially, you know, I did not expect I mean, I expected to enjoy Lower Decks as a series. I
Mhm.
expected to find it amusing. I did not expect it to make me cry 2 episodes in a row. And that is just these characters have wormed their way into my heart. Okay, not wormed, they just blasted their way in and slammed the door shut, and they're never coming out. And I just, you know, we are so spoiled right now.
We really
And
are.
I hope that we all can take the time to appreciate how spoiled we are because we don't know what could happen in the future. So, but I want Lower Decks to go on for 10 years. I
Yes.
just at least.
Well, and that's actually kind of the beauty of animation is
Mhm.
I feel like Lower Decks has the potential to really be a long haul Star Trek series, probably more than any other series.
Yeah,
Like
because the characters can age however you want them to.
absolutely. And I mean, you know, look at the obvious examples, right? The Simpsons and Family Guy and these series that seem to I mean, like The Simpsons, like it's 30 plus years now, like good lord. Um but the you know, you don't have to show this family aging, and same with, like you said, Lower Decks, like they can look however we want them to look for however long. And I'm that makes me so I never really thought about that until you said that, and that makes me incredibly excited now.
Same,
uh,
same.
um what else do we want to say about this part? Oh, Kira and Shax. We need to talk about these two because um there's so much subtle done with Kira, and this was not subtle, but it was perfect. The fact that they're old resistance fighters
Mhm.
together, and the gag throughout the whole episode is this rivalry that, like, no, I owe you one because you saved my life. No, I owe you. That was so perfect. And ah, man, it just it fits so perfectly with Shax, but it also fits so perfectly with Kira. Like none of her like it feels like it's always a bit of a danger to take a live action character and put them in this animated world, which, like, let's be honest, is just like kick it up a couple notches, right? It's a
Mhm.
little bit more animated, right? It's more outrageous, it's more out there. But everything they had for Kira to do fit with her character, and I think this worked really well for them as well.
Yeah. And besides that, Shax he's a badass, yes, but he's also just a big softy.
Yeah.
He's a big papa bear. And he just and so I loved seeing those 2 together. I could have an entire episode of just that. In fact,
Yes.
let's have an entire episode of just Shax and Kira, catching up and telling stories, and then have let's have a series of let's have an animated Deep Space Nine series, I think is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh,
We
man.
it's obvious that people would be receptive to that. So,
Yeah. This is like, to be honest, I don't go looking for negativity or anything like that. But generally speaking, you see one or two things kind of filter through and blah blah. This is the first episode of modern Star Trek that I'm sure it's out there. Again, like I said, I haven't gone looking, but I've not seen a negative comment. I've not seen somebody like just about not gushing about this
mhm,
episode. Uh, it's so good. It's so much fun. Oh,
yeah.
cheating at a Quarks? Sorry. So many great little lines in this episode. Um, Before we get to Tendy's story, which might be my favorite part of this episode story wise, we'll talk a little bit about Bold Boimler again. I just love that they kind of like set you up that he's gonna have a big fall at some point playing Dawo, but just keeps winning, keeps winning, keeps winning. And the Ferengi waiters are like, oh no, freaking out. And then the ending, which I love, which, you know, again, in another show, in another setting, would be a loss for the character. It'd be like, haha, look how silly he is. He took this Quark's credit, which is worthless anywhere, you know, and didn't take all the money. But Boimler again reminds us the setting we're in. He's like, okay, cool, that's awesome. I mean, I don't want the latinum. We don't use money anyway.
Yep.
Frankie's like, What? So great. Uh,
So great. And now it's twice the value of what he won,
yep.
and he can go spend that in the Quark's gift shop. He came back with a Quark mug and a Quark
Mhm.
T-shirt and one of those Quark's trucker hats, and just,
Yeah.
probably a Quark's messenger bag
Oh
and,
yeah.
maybe some place settings, whatever, some Mr. Data bubble bath.
I
I'm still gonna just attribute that to Quarks. Who else would do that?
Absolutely, yeah, we see him, like, yeah, with a bunch of his swag, not swag because it's not free stuff, it's stuff he bought at the gift shop, but the mug with the big wide base, I noticed was one
Uh-huh.
of the things that he got. Um, I don't think you could see this particular item in what he carried, but in a future episode, I want him to be drinking from one of those mugs that he's got Quark's face on it, and then he turns, "Come to Quark's, Quark's is fun." That would be great. That would be the best.
Yes. I want that. I want that so much now.
Mike McMahon, if you're watching, which I know you aren't, but
You totally are. Mike McMahon's totally watching. Don't you know? He watches
totally.
all of our shows. All of our
Absolutely. I
shows.
don't think he's here live, but I'm sure he watches them all after the fact, so
Absolutely. And someday he's just gonna pluck me out of obscurity and make me a voice actor star.
yes, absolutely. Come right now. Don't walk, run!
Yes.
Oh, I still love it.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, so yeah, the kind of main thing that's going through is the Karma, which great reference, the very first member of the Dominion that was ever met in Deep Space Nine. Uh, the Federation's wanting to kind of normalize relations with them and establish trade agreements and that sort of thing. And um, I love that we're using Fallout from the Dominion War as like a basis, which is something that, like, I on a serious note, I kind of wish Star Trek had, like, I wanted a series that dealt with that after Deep Space Nine was done and that kind of thing, right? Because
Yeah.
war has effects on people and civilizations and stuff, and I love that we get references to that and the Karma, such a deep cut. um and this whole plot with realizing Quark has stolen Karman technology in his replicator, which was pretty obvious right away, but they treat it as a little bit of a sitcom trope that, like, oh, they just decided to kidnap Quark and we're in the dark as to why and stuff, but it comes out, no, they were arresting Quark and all this stuff. So um, that was fun, and we get, like I said, Quark screaming and Quark's typical deviousness, and the great exchange between Quark and Kira, where he's like giving the Karma the cold shoulder and using the Dominion War as an excuse, like, a little thing called the Dominion War. Where were you when my customers were getting killed? And it's like, Quark, come on, I have principles. No, you don't. Best line.
So true.
Oh man, that killed me. I was crying laughing. Um so
Mhm.
good. And this is where we cross over into the Tendi story, which I definitely want to talk about. We've got Tendi and Rutherford geeking out. Rutherford really geeking out to the
I
point
gotta
where
climb up to the second level and dangle my legs.
I should probably tone this down. um And what was his line about? Oh, he wanted to have a heart to heart with a junior reporter while he was
Yep.
dangling his legs. I'm like, oh, Jake, I love it.
Mhm.
So good. But yeah, they meet another Orion on the station named Mesk, who um I'm gonna be honest, like, at first in this episode, and it's designed that way, like, you're really annoyed by this guy because he's obviously playing up these stereotypes which Tendi is very much chafing against, I do have to say, I got a little annoyed a couple times with Rutherford that he wasn't picking up on this, and he's like, "Hey, Mask, yeah, you get to join us," and Tendy's like, I'm like, "Come on, dude, look at your friend." Like,
Mhm.
but that's okay. Minor, complaint there, but I was reminded, and I have mixed feelings because this is the episode in season 1 that introduced Badgie, so there's some
Mm.
great things in that episode. But that episode also featured Ensign Fletcher, who is my
Mhm.
least favorite character probably ever, with no
Agreed.
redeeming qualities whatsoever. And I was getting real Fletcher vibes from this.
I wonder if it was the same actor voicing him because there were a lot of vocal inflections that were very Fletcher.
Yeah, and I wondered the same thing as well. I didn't look it up, but I did wonder. I feel like they weren't, but they could very well be. But I will say he has a much better arc than Fletcher, and like actual motivations and actual sympathy for him by the end,
Mhm.
which makes him like 1,000 times better than Fletcher. So I came around on him. Still, obviously, very annoying and very insensitive. But when you start to learn why that is and why he's overcompensating so hard, you're kind of like, okay, very misguided, but I get it. Okay, just take some sensitivity training, you'll be fine. But
He could use some.
yeah, absolutely. But I did love the what that did for Tendy's arc, especially where, and I mean, we kind of knew from before that I can't remember what her name in the Orion world was, but
Mistress of the Southern Constellations, something like that.
something like that.
Winter
Yeah,
Constellations? I can't
Win-
remember.
that sounds yeah.
Winter Constellations. Mistress of the Winter Constellations, I believe.
That sounds right, yeah. Um, and the fact that I'm pretty sure we now know for sure that in the season 1 episode Veritas, she was not lying about what she did to those Romulans, because we actually get to see her in action here, and it's not a narrated backstory thing. It's like wow. Oh my god, Tendy. That was incredible and amazing, and I am in love with this character.
Mhm.
I mean, I love them all, but like Tendy in this episode when she like flips to badass mode, man, oh man, oh man. I love that she's got this inside her. She's got this past, and she's still just the amazing, great, friendly, bubbly person that we see week to week. Like, I don't know,
Yeah.
there's just, it just adds so much more to her character that, like, oh yeah, she could probably be in charge of half the quadrant if she wanted to. But
Mm.
no, that's not, she's not going to do that. She's not going to go into pirating. She's too nice. I
Yeah,
love
well,
that.
that's the thing is, like, you can choose your behavior. And
Hmm.
she has obviously, she learned a lot from her parents, obviously, who are and she even says this in the syndicate, but that's not who she wants to be.
Hmm.
And that's the beauty of Tendi is that she's making a choice about who she wants to be. And, yeah, she's got those other things going on, but that's not who she is. Those are skills that she has, and they came in very handy in this episode, but that's not who she wants to be.
Absolutely. Yeah. If there's one thing my father taught me, it's that every ship has a security failsafe. I love that. There's so many great lines in this.
Mhm.
Oh man.
Just how
Um
quickly she sizes up a situation. It's like, "Oh, this guy has a gold tooth. I'm going to use that to disrupt this later, but I gotta get there first. But I gotta get that tooth on the way." Just all this going on, lightning fast in her brain.
no. I actually had, and this is not a reference to this, but what popped into my head was Rocket Raccoon from Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm gonna need that guy's arm. Except Tendi actually does use the tooth. It's not just a joke.
Yeah,
Um
I'm gonna need that guy's eye, this guy's arm. And that guy's like,
We find out that Mesk is from Cincinnati. I kind of liked
yep,
that. That was and
I've never
everything
even been to Orion.
everything he learned about Orion, he learned from holonovels, and not even the good holonovels, the
The
holonovels with the
ones
boobs
with
on
the
the
boobs on the
cover.
covers.
Yep.
The ones with the
Uh,
boobs.
oh, I wanted to talk about this guy, Wellington, where they're running towards him. He's just like, and jumps over the ledge. And you hear him scream for quite a while. Oh, is that guy okay? Is he okay? I want to know. Oh man, that was so good.
Oh, wow. Just yeah, well, if I had Tindy coming at me with that look on her face, I would probably be doing the same thing, like, "Mm-mm, mm-mm,
Yeah,
definitely a nope."
so good. So yeah, they saved the day. I love I kind of wanted the scene where the senior staff finds out why the Karma ship stopped right before the wormhole, but sadly our lower deck heroes probably went unsung again, because
Mm.
that seems to be kind of the trend, sadly. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Lower Decks getting it done, getting it done. Never get the
I,
credit.
I have questions. Is
I
he
do.
okay?
Yeah, was there an anti-gravity well maybe at the bottom? I don't know. I
Maybe.
don't know. I hope he's not dead.
Wow. Yeah. So yeah, the ship is stopped. Deep Space Nine comes back online. They tractor the ship back in, and the deal they make with the Karma to appease them, that will appease both the Karma and Quark, is that the Karma will get 76% of all of Quark's franchise profits, leading to my other favorite Quark bit in this, where he's like, I thought this was an agreement that would make all of us happy. And Freeman says, wouldn't you rather be poor than in prison? No. Just like, no. That was so good. So
Yeah.
Quark.
Obviously, Freeman doesn't understand a lot about Ferengi.
Yeah. And that's another thing, is like the folks from the Federation and Starfleet, they don't really get the profit motive. Like 76%, like, yeah, that's fine. What? Quark's like, are you kidding me? He already lost so much money on that Data bubble bath that, like, oh
Because the manufacturer just made a few too many lures, I guess.
yeah, yeah, those darn lures just getting in everywhere, and then the odd B4 as well. So
I know, and that one's just, like, defective.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
the lid just comes off and doesn't go back on. Just
Oh, poor B4.
he
And
never
then
really got a chance to live.
yeah. And then somebody influences it, and suddenly this bottle of bubble bath is taking over your whole ship. So,
Yeah,
or
so
downloading
just
your secrets or whatever.
yeah, is there any, question as to why, he was the data bubble bath didn't sell? I mean,
I mean, I'd buy it, so I don't know.
I would too.
Totally. We got a reference to the hologram with Quark's head on Kira's body. That was a fun little reference.
Mhm. I
To
love
a
how she climbs over the counter
yes.
to chase him. She's just like, "You're not getting away from me, you twerp."
See, that's what I like. Like, it's up a couple notches, because we never saw that in Deep Space Nine. We've seen her reach across the bar and like pull him up by his lapels.
Oh, I
But
think she wanted to, though. I think
oh,
she wanted to climb over that counter every time.
absolutely. Which is like, that's basically what Jonathan Frakes said, right? Like, he was just basically cut loose and let to be the Riker that he always wanted to be. And I think that's kind of happening here. They're
Mhm.
just, yeah. Um, Yeah, so that reference was to the episode Meridian, of course, which the storyline was Jeffrey Combs' first appearance in Star Trek as the character of Tyrion. Overall, a terrible episode because the A plot was Jedzia Dax on that planet with the guy and the no chemistry. Anyway, but that episode did bring us Jeffrey Combs, so
Mm-hmm. Well, I knew of Jeffrey Combs before that, but
yeah, no, in
it was
Star Trek,
just
I mean,
in
yeah.
in Star Trek, yeah, and he's he's brilliant no matter what character he's doing, no matter what latex is on him. You gotta love Jeffrey Combs.
Absolutely. Oh man, there's so many things that we didn't even talk about. Bold Boimler with his coin purse. I don't
Clutch.
know. It's a
No,
clutch.
it's a clutch. It's a clutch.
Yeah. Um, what else? Oh man, there's so much. But I loved this episode. Um, yeah. Mirror Universe reference, the Mirror Universe with Smiley. That
Smiley!
was
Yep.
great. Oh, and the other thing I just loved was when they segue from the Cerritos to Deep Space Nine. It's like, the typical style of segue shot from Deep Space Nine, and also with like DS9 establishing shot music, or at
Mhm.
least in the style of, and I
Yes.
love that. It's just an extra little touch that was so good.
Yep, and that's funny because that scene, the first scene when they get to Deep Space Nine, and the music starts, and I'm like, and then they're like, sir, just keep circling," and the music starts over every time. It's just, and so I'm laughing and crying because it's just so great. And how about that wormhole animation, folks? That
Oh,
was lovely.
so beautiful. There's so much in this episode that they just did so lovingly. Like,
Mm,
huge shout out to the animators at Titmos and the it's just fun
yes.
to say. Um
Tidmouse.
chirp.
Nice.
Oh, we always,
Love
every
it.
time we watch the episode, we have to do the chirp
Mhm.
impression at the end. But like the station itself in that animation style, so beautiful. And like when we see ops, like the computer panels, the Cardassian shatter frame displays, like the amount of research that obviously went into it, and the meticulous recreation of all of
Mm,
those elements was so beautiful. Uh,
yes.
yeah, and I mean, Deep Space Nine fans out there, myself included, if they got something wrong, would be like, "There's no door there. That's not how that goes. That's not where the infirmary is." No, they made sure to get it all right, and
Mhm.
the sound effects, yeah, the soundscape they produce, the doors, the one thing I did notice is the rolling airlock doors. They didn't quite use the right sound there, so I did try, but that's okay. Like the Kira hitting her comm badge, and it's the Bajoran comm badge sound, not the Starfleet one, which even Deep Space Nine got wrong sometimes. The fact that they got that right, so good, so good.
So very good.
I don't know what else to say other than just repeat again ad nauseum how much I loved it. Brandi, is there anything that we haven't covered that you had that you wanted to mention? And folks in the comments as well.
Mm, I don't really think that I have anything else that hasn't been mentioned. Um, Loved the episode, and uh, I don't even know how. I mean, how can you rate something like this?
Yeah,
So I guess it's just one giant Deep Space Nine gasm. So
absolutely. I did. I like that. That's one that I, for whatever reason, didn't catch the first time around. But yeah, the planet. It's like, no, that was the other planet. It's the one with the little trees that they saved each other on and stuff. That
yep,
was great. I don't. Yeah, the one with the little trees. I liked that line. I want to see that backstory now. That was great.
agree.
So yeah, I'll ask for ratings from the folks in the comments as well. I think y'all know my rating. It's whatever mathematically gets you over 100%, which is I don't know. All
Warp
of the
engines. Yeah, the warp core is operating at 110%.
there you
Yeah.
go. Yeah. 9 out of 9. Oops, geez. 9 out of 9 lost Bajoran orbs. I don't know. All the Deep Space Nine references. All of them. All 185 rules of acquisition out of 185. Like, plus the 186th. When Morn leaves, it's all over. So 186 rules of acquisition out of 185. That's how you do
There you go. There you go.
I'm loving some of these ratings here. Infinity out of 9 celestial temples. There you go. You found a way. You found a way.
Well done.
10 Orion graffitis, and I don't do 10s. Yeah.
This is
I get
true.
them.
This is
Yeah.
true.
An infinity of infinities. We're breaking math here, people.
We're talking in quantum realities now.
I'm a bad Star Trek fan. David, you're right. It is 285, not 185. 286 out of 100. 286 out of 285 rules of acquisition.
Right.
Thank you, David.
Well, see, I didn't notice that either. So thank you, David.
10 out of 10 Orions from Ohio. Yep. 10 out of 10 Quarks Bucks gift certificates. Yep. I love that canonically they're Quarks Bucks now. I like that. That's great. 5 out of 5 Dabos.
Go!
That was great when the power went down. They like shine the light. Dabo! That was perfect.
Oh, so great.
76 out of 76% of Quark's profits. One alternate universe mistress of the winter constellations in charge of the syndicate. She totally is in the mirror universe or in some alternate universe. Absolutely. Cut 11 out of 10 Bajoran Resistance War stories. Man. 5 out of 5 circling the pylons over and over again for eternity. Yep.
Just keep circling.
10 crates of self-sealing stem bolts. 10 out of 10 crates of Galardornian spider milk too. That was that was a good little reference there. Mariner said she wanted to try it. I wonder if she actually did and what her thoughts were. So yeah.
Somebody message Tawny on Twitter and see if she can find that out.
Yeah. How does the Galardonian spider milk taste? Yeah, we want to know.
Yeah. We want to know. Oh.
So next week's episode, it just occurs to me now because I've been so crazy busy over the last few weeks and stuff. I watched this episode quite a while ago, and then I still haven't watched the next 2 yet, which we have access to. So I don't know anything about next week's episode at all, but if I'm remembering correctly, Tawny Newsome said that episode 7 of this season is bananas, whatever that means. So
BANANAS. Sorry.
This episode is bananas.
Bananas.
All right. So I don't know anything about it. I can't even remember the title off the top of my head, but we will be here talking about it. Yeah. On that anticlimactic note, Brandi, when you're not gushing about the lower decks treatment of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, where can we find you?
On Twitter at Brandywine12. Why did I say it that way? I have no freaking idea. So
perfect. You can find me on Twitter as well. I'm at Kertrats, Kertrats. The Positively Trek podcast with Barry DeFord. Next episode is a book club episode with Jessie Gender of YouTube fame and Una McCormick, and we're talking about her new novel, Star Trek Picard's Second Self, and that's that if editing goes to plan, should be out Wednesday of this coming Wednesday. So yeah, great episode, wonderful discussion. I'm just continually blown away by Una McCormick, and probably never more so than this time around. So she's wonderful. And Jessie, I can't keep up with her because her questions, and they're so insightful. And I'm like, I
Mhm.
need to step up my podcasting game when I'm hosting with her. So she's keeping me on my toes. Great episode, and I'm the worst part of it. So I'm just gonna say that.
Not possible.
That's
Not
not that's
possible.
not talking about me. That's just saying how amazing the two wonderful women I'm podcasting with in that episode are. So absolutely. Yeah, thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you next week. And I'm just riding this Deep Space Nine high. I love it so much.
Mhm.
Good night, everybody. Thank you for the wonderful birthday wishes, and thank you, Brandi, for the wonderful birthday song. And we'll see you next time. Bye.